India is the largest democracy in the world. Closely tied to this idea is the belief, Janta Janardhan, that is, people of the nation are the true gods. And while citizens are viewed as gods, the sanctum that provides the highest forum to discuss, debate and decide issues for the well-being of the said people is considered the temple of democracy. This sacred space is the parliament. But how many of us were aware that the Parliament House, the temple of democracy, was, in fact, inspired by an ancient Shiva temple? Strange as it may sound, it is true that the architecture of the Indian Parliament building in New Delhi was derived from the structural blueprint of the Chausath Yogini Mandir. Known also as the Ekattarso Mahadeva Mandir, the temple is located in Mitaoli, a small village in the Morena district of Madhya Pradesh. Situated in a small hamlet, the temple is said to have been built in the 11th century by Maharaja Devapala of the Pratihara dynasty. It is said that the intricacies associated with the temple drew attention and eventually turned it into a venue for imparting knowledge on astrology and mathematics. Over the past centuries, this glorious temple seems to have been damaged by the Mughal invasion. As evident from the ruined Gomata idol on the temple premises and the destroyed idols of the yoginis. Despite the repeated attempts to deface and desecrate the temple, its architecture and cultural splendor remains and still draws thousands of visitors annually. Situated on a 100-foot hill in the village of Mitaoli, the temple looks like a crown on the hill when viewed from below. The temple is circular with a radius of 170 feet and has a single entrance. Once inside, we come across a circular sanctum comprising 100 pillars. At the center, Ekattarso resides in the form of a linga. As mentioned earlier, the temple's circular structure consists of 100 pillars and 64 rooms, hence the name Chausath, meaning 64 in Hindi. Each room contains a Shivalinga and a Yogini worshipping each Shivalinga. Within the main central shrine, there are slab coverings that have perforations in them to drain rainwater to large underground storage. The pipelines from the roof leading the rainwater to the storage area are visible from the sanctum. Being in the seismic zone 3, it is miraculous that the temple's design has enabled it to withstand earthquake shocks without any damage to its structural features over the past several centuries. There are only 4 such Chausath Yogini temples in India, 2 in the state of Odisha and the rest in the state of Madhya Pradesh. It was not until a few years ago that the temple, which has withstood many trials and tribulations, was taken over by the Archaeological Survey of India (ASI) and added to the state tourism of Madhya Pradesh. Coming back to the influence that the temple had on the parliament architecture, the Britishers were one of the many to be intrigued by the temple's complex design. In the early 20th century, when British architects Baker and Lutyens were tasked with building the parliament, it is believed that they considered the temple as a model and built the Indian Parliament building based on the temple's structure. Although the claim is contended, former regional director of the Archaeological Survey of India believes that the resemblance between the two structures is too unmistakable to be ignored. He added that the Vedic mantras engraved on the walls of the parliament is a vindication that the British architects did take into account the Indian art while constructing buildings. While the architectural beauty of the temple allows us to take pride in the works of our predecessors, it also reminds us of the significance of our duty to preserve such awe-inspiring Indian temples. Jai Hind.